Hello everyone and welcome back. Lucky Mies over here. Yes, you heard the title. This time we are taking a look the famous or infamous, depending where do you look, the one who sank the pride of the Royal Navy in only a few minutes, and also needed the entire fleet of the Royal Navy to take down the pride of the Kriegsmarine. And that is the legend and the flagship of the Iron Blood fleet, Battleship Bismarck herself. Of course.
私
Introductions.
感情表現があまり得意ではないけど、しかしあなたには知ってほしい。あなたのそばにいる私が幸せだということを。
It was about time we take a look at her at this time and place. As much I want to add some kind of introduction how Bismarck actually appeared when she was released first time. Well, at first in game she appears in tutorial, and in that tutorial she sank the hood. And her starting speech in Treasure of Iron and Blood. She was Europeans. Well, Europe did not exist back then. She was Germany's most powerful battleship during the starting. How should I pronounce it? She was the powerful battleship at her time. And then, after the confrontation with the Hood and King George V? No, it was a Duke of Prince of Wales. Excuse me, Prince of Wales. But Bismarck was sailing with Prince Eugen, the heavy cruiser. And after that confrontation, when Hood was sunk by really unlucky shot, and then a few days after that, Royal Navy hunted Bismarck until Ark Royal managed to hit a rudder that sealed Bismarck's fate, and finally Royal Navy managed to catch up on her, and during that final battle she sunk. And of course, because we are talking about Bismarck class, we are also going to talk about Tirpitz, but she is after. We are done with Bismarck. So how is Bismarck in Azur Lane today? Let's find out. Of course, what you're seeing here in the screen may not reflect what I'm going to read on Wiki, Azur Lane Wiki. And if you think about, am I going to review Bismarck Zwei, the ultra rare version of Bismarck, Bismarck returns in Azur Lane. I kinda can. They are the same person in different rarity and different skills. But I think because she is upgraded, I think I'm going to make a different video about it. Or if I want to right now to do also Bismarck Zwei comparison. But because we are talking about Bismarck, then of course Yes. Perhaps it's the best way to actually take a look Bismarck and Zwei in the same video, while also adding Tirpitz. Okay. This is now decided. Moment. Decision. So let's go into take a look at the stats. So you can actually get Bismarck today in exchange on medals. And of course, the stats. Once you reach 125, her HP in standard 8,970. She's a good amount HP. Her firepower is a respectable one, 428. As for her AA, it's an iron blood standard, so 212. It's not impressive, but it is there. Her reload is also respectful, 155. Her evasion is 34, and her armor is heavy. Her speed is 30, her accuracy is 75, her luck then is 32, and her oil cost is respectable 15. These stats can change if you update or upgrade your fleet technology to the maximal level 10, was it? As you can see in stats over here on the screen, you can see that there's a huge differences once you have upgraded your fleet technology. As for her gears, her main battery efficiency is 130%. It's not maybe much, but it is there. Her secondary gun efficiency is 180%. It is 20% low in standard 200%, which is actually interesting. And you then have 2 secondary guns. As for her anti-air gun efficiency is 90%. It's not impressive, but that is also either Battleship or Iron Blood standard. She doesn't have personal augment yet. But I don't think does she actually get one in a really long time, because how good she is now that we are going to look at her skills. First off is war height. War rate. I think that means a truth. Let me use this translation real quick. War heat. Truth. Okay, this is a skill called Truth. This ship's first volley will always critically hit, based on what happened in real life with the Hood. While equipping a light cruiser gun in the auxiliary weapon slot, sets the range of the light cruiser gun to 90 and decreases their damage by 35%. Personally, okay, I'm gonna say it right here now that we have read the skill. Her first volley doing critical hit is impressive. While you have light cruiser gun as a secondary gun. And then you increases its range as far where your vanguard can move is impressive too. However, decreasing its damage to 35% is actually a little bit downgrade because you actually lose significant amount of damage dealt. So if you want to fully utilize its damage capabilities, you can either take destroyer gun, it has to be a good one too, or if you want to actually make her secondary more useful, you have to then trade to lose that extra damage. Now then is the second skill, which is Unwavering Strength. When this ship fires a salvo while sorted as the flagship, 70% chance to fire special barrage also increases the damage of all your Ironblood carriers by 20%. So, first of all, when this ship fires salvo while sorted as the flagship, this barrage only activates when the Bismarck is flagship spot. And if I recall correctly, also increases the damage of all your Ironblood carriers by 20%. I am not sure. Does this also work while C is not flagship spot? But because there is a word also increases the damage, then I am not fully sure. But I recommend trying it out anyway. Does she have to be in a flagship spot to increase carrier's damage by 20%? Ironblood only. Or does it automatically give the damage buff while she is not in flagship spot? But a good skill for the Ironblood carriers because they heavily lack in that department. And last is a support skill, which is Will of the Ironblood. Increases the main gun, torpedo, and airstrike crit rate of all your Ironblood ships by 20%. Increases their reload by 12%. And increases Tirpitz damage by 40%. So Will of the Ironblood is actually a good one that you must try to utilize as much as possible because it increases crit rate 20% and reload 12%. And this is a skill that Tirpitz really, back in the day, I will explain later, really loves to have. And let me remind you, Bismarck is Tirpitz's big sister. So of course, a skill like this that can give moral support to your sister is a big plus. Okay. We have now read. Oh, of course, I almost forget. She has also performance as on firepower and HP is S tier. As for her character design, you can clearly see She's a simple design. well,
あなたのそばにいる
well,
私
that
は
was rude to say.
幸せだということを
Well, I think that was very rude to say. I say she doesn't have those, you know, commonly we see in these new ships. These waves curving out the character. This is a, if I remember correctly, Bismarck was released 2021, was it? Or 2020? Series of Ironblood event. Excuse me. It was started 2019. 6 years ago. Today. 2025. Almost 6 years, because she was released on May 23rd, 2019. You can see her Bismarck logo over their shoulders. Really impressive cape over there. And the rigging of the Bismarck class itself. Sharks over there with the 50-inch guns, 280mm guns as well over there. If you take a closer look, you can see some small anti-air guns here or there, and anti-air guns. But really impressive work. Impressive, simple design. And I love it. As for her skins, she has good amount. Beacon of Ironblood. And Iron Black Elysium. Unpacked Surprise. And a Wedding Oat skin. As for her alternative, it got a swimsuit as well. Now then, how about we go to the Tirpitz?
なるほど。寒さに慣れ、孤独に親しんだつもりだが、人と交流する楽しさと、そばに人がいる時のぬくもりを忘れていただけか。でも今、それを思い出した。
Tirpitz is a very old character in the game. What a weird way to start this. Tirpitz is the second class of the Bismarck class. And her story, personally, is a sad one. While Bismarck was released, Tirpitz was still on construction. And after Bismarck went with Prince Eugen, Tirpitz was last of her class when Bismarck sank to their own way. After some high command orders, she was ordered in Norway, in the fjords. She has given chances to try and do damage to the merchant ships. But because what happened to Bismarck, the higher command that commands the Kriegsmarine ordered that Tirpitz was not be damaged in combat or something like that, so she has to be withdrawn. So over time she was living free rent in Royal Navy leadership's heads. Because one, Bismarck did something impressive that only a rare few battleship can do. And that left some kind of impression to the Royal Navy, what Bismarck did to Hood, and what their confrontation was with the Bismarck. Tirpitz, although not active, but her presence alone caused the High Admiralty to pull every trick possible to take her down. Okay. Until one day, Tirpitz was sank, capsized in the harbor by a Royal Navy tallboy. She took some hits, but those hits were so damaging that she finally capsized in the fjord, doing nothing more than being a mental pain or psychological pain to the Royal Navy Admiralty. Her very existence was a threat to the merchant ships. But she didn't fire a single shot in her existence, but only in training or in that one random mission where the German Navy had to take some outpost somewhere. I don't remember. But that was the last time when she fired her main guns. I don't know, did she fire her main guns during the air raid? Or was it her anti-air guns? Well, anyway. Now, despite her history, she first time appeared in Azul Lane Divergent chessboard that was released 2018 on December. She is probably 7 years old character today in 2025. But how does she fare in game? Let's find out. Her HP, level 125, 8592. Her firepower is 428. She also have torpedoes. 220. Her anti-air gun is 212. Her reload is 152. Her evasion is 34. Her armor is heavy. Her speed is 30. Her accuracy is 69. Her luck is 45. And her oil cost is respectable 15. As for her gear slot, she seems to have more improvement compared to her big sister Bismarck, but that's only on a secondary. Her main guns are 130%. Her secondary gun efficiency is 200%, and her anti-air is 90%. And augment module. She gets her own augment module, which then upgrades her firepower and reload. First strike is a firepower. Increase your main fleet's firepower by 20 for 10 seconds. This skill cannot stack with itself. And it improves the Lonely Queen of the North. But we need to take a look at the wiki to actually take a look at the past. What did it change? Lonely Queen of the North, which actually refers to her historical accuracy, being a lonely ship, a fleeting being. If sorted without other battleships or battlecruisers, increases own damage dealt by 30%. Aviation battleships do not count, so this is a old skill. She needed to be a lonely battleship. But if you have like Hyuga or Issei that have aviation capabilities, or Yumoguro Fuso, huh? Then though she gets the extra battleship there and also aviations. So those no. Bleh. Now, Alchemy module, Lonely Queen of the North Plus. This is a funny one. When there are no non-Ironblood battleships or battlecruisers in your main fleet, increases this ship damage dealt by 30%. She requires, if I remember correctly, somebody explained me this. She gets this buff while she sails with the other Ironblood members. And as for her armament, she has magnetic torpedoes, which is every 15 seconds fires 4 magnetic torpedoes that track the enemy. Torpedo damage is based on the skill level. So they are probably a either 8,000 or 9,000 maximum damage, but I am not sure. I am not sure. But here is a funny part. If you add Lonely Queen of the North, which gives 30%, no non-Ironblood. 30% Lonely Queen of the North.
私の顔に何かついているのか?
I am not sure. Does this stack? But increases Tirpitz damage to 40%. So is Tirpitz damage something like 70%? Damage dealt 30%.
私の顔に何かついているのか?
And will of the Ironblood increase the Tirpitz damage 40%. That's 70%, right? If that is true, she hits like a train. She hits like a tall boy. Now, as for her character design, it is simple and yet beautiful at the same time. It holds the same gear design as a Bismarck does. There is a slight differences because Tirpitz is a slightly modified after Bismarck sank. But you can see some anti-air guns over here and there, but one is there hidden in her waist. As for her skins, well, she got a lot of them. This Snow Melting Summer is a L2D, if I remember correctly. Ironblood Snowstorm. And then there's a Season Pine and Frostflower. Frostflower. And then there is a vase for the Frostflower. What? Yes, L2D is a swimsuit. Now, this seems to be promising. But because we are talking about Bismarck class itself, I guess it is fair enough to talk about the Zwei. It was somewhere here before. Over here.
できればあなたがこのまま私のそばにいて背中を預ける戦友や語り合う友人としてではなく何でもないわ。言いたいことに気づいてくれればそれでいい。私はまだこういうのに慣れていないみたい。
Bismarck Zwei is a upgraded Bismarck after she sank during Sersov of Iron and Blood event. She was heavily corrupted by black cube that sirens gave her. During that corruption, however, in middle of fight, a U-boat 556 managed to arrive before Bismarck was totally lost to the depth of the ocean. So U-556 managed to keep her promise to save Bismarck wherever she be. Thanks to her actions, Bismarck survived, and then long time, really long time, in year 2023, Bismarck finally returns. In Confluence of Nothingness event. And she is packing. Her character design is slightly different. Her rigging has changed drastically. And its character design is, of course, really impressive. Impressive. She is standing on the cliff. Come on! She is standing on the cliff. You can see the rigging's tail all behind there. It has some three-headed dragon. It's called Geryon. If we want to take a closer look at the rigging, we can hide the background objects, making it easier to look details the Bismarck has. I have to say the artists did some magnificent job designing a rigging like this. Now then, how is Bismarck Zwei? Of course, I need to remind again, stats differ when you upgrade an Oath, Bismarck, and the fleet technology, fleet tech. So, in level 125, her HP is 9429 at base. Her firepower is respectful 448. Her anti-air has upgraded a little bit, 279. Her reload is also upgraded, 170. Her evasion slightly decreased, 28. Her armor is heavy. Her speed is 30. Her accuracy is 75. Her luck may be dropped, but it's 33. Comparison to her... Okay, I need to correct myself. It is the same. 32 is her luck. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, there is a slight drop in evasion, but her speed, accuracy, and luck has not changed. But because she is now ultra rare, her oil cost has increased to 17. As for her gear equipment, there is a very nice improvement to her main gun efficiency. It starts 125 and then reaches to 155. Her secondary gun is also improved, all to maximum 200. And she has 3 of them, while the original has 2 of them. She gets 1 anti-air gun, and she has no augment module personal yet this far. It will be a surprise if the Ultra Rare gets their own augment module. Now then, it's time to look the skills, Salvi. Calamitous Voidblade increases this ship firepower by 10% and reload by 15% when this ship fires her main guns. 1. The first volley of the salvo is guaranteed to critically hit, and second, fires level 10 special barrage, damage based on skill level, that creates zone on the battlefield that enemies are drawn to. Okay, first off, she gets improvement to her firepower and reload, increasing their efficiency. And then, when she fires her main guns, first volley to salvo is guaranteed critical hit, and second is fires level 10 special barrage that creates zone on the battlefield that enemies are drawn to. If you have played Cerso of Iron and Blood, the final stage, B3 or D3, where Bismarck is corrupted and it's a final boss. So during that fight, she drops this black hole where your vanguard is drawn to if you are close to it. And they stay in the black hole as long as it lasts. So this is kind of based on that. It actually makes her more powerful, making it easier to hit. Second is Geryon, the Ruin Eater. During battle, the autonomous rigging Geryon will switch between 2 modes to provide support. The support mode toggles each time Bismarck Zwei fires her main guns. 1. Synchron Link reduces damage received by Bismarck Zwei by 20% and increases the power of the next Calamitous Voidblade, Special Barrage. Geryon starts battle in Synchron Link mode. Second, Synchron Release. Geryon will separate from Bismarck Zwei, move to different location and begin attacking with special weapons. Geryon's stats are based on skills level as well as Bismarck Zwei's stats. After Geryon completes deployment as a result of this skill, it will perform another special attack level 10. So, I have seen this in action. I say this is a really special one indeed. Now that I read of it, it reminds me of Odin. Odin switches her place to the front. Excuse me, let me repeat myself. Odin switches her place to the front when something happened. I don't recall it. And then reduces her damage taken by some amount of percents, I don't recall. But this reminds me of Odin. And then all this reduces damage. So her first one So first volley reduces damage received by Bismarck Zwei by 20% and increases the power next volley. Calamitous Void Flame. Increases the power next Calamitous Void Flame. Okay, we are going to read that skill next. But Gerion's stats are based on skill level as well as Bismarck Zwei's stats. This is, if you want to utilize it, I highly recommend giving Bismarck the best gears you can make. The ones I have might not be impressive, but they are still capable enough to give some kind of damage. And improving her stats all the way. But she is packing a special support. She is also reducing damage when this condition has been done. Increases the damage of the next skill, and she is packing really good amount of gimmicks. Simple ones, indeed, really simple ones. And the last one is a support skill. Also, the Ruin Eater is also a support. Reborn Temple of Iron. Increases the firepower, torpedo, and AA of Ironblood ships in the same fleet as this ship by 15%. This is a good one indeed. This is a slightly different compared to her original. But every increase to the Ironblood members is a welcome one indeed. When a fleet this ship is not in, so the second fleet basically starts a battle, and while this ship is still afloat, fires level 10 special supporting barrage 15 seconds after the battle starts. If the flagship of that fleet is an Ironblood ship, also increases the aviation of that fleet's Ironblood carriers and light carriers by 15%. This is also a huge improvement to the Ironblood carriers that in the past they always tend to struggle with. So there is a funny combination. If you use Bismarck Zwei and Bismarck in different fleets, Bismarck Zwei actually gives the more buffs to the other fleet. You can see, as I was about to explain, my mind started to engineer all different combinations. As for the skins, she gets this swimsuit. I say we have finally now reached to this character review, and now we are going to take the voiceover. Alright. We will see in a voiceover. Okay, Lucky Mia's voiceover here. So, the Bismarck class. Let's talk about our main flagship here, the Bismarck. So, Bismarck is maybe old, but she hasn't aged in my opinion. Yes, there are some new, powerful, or stronger characters compared to her. But she can, if you compare her in the PvP, yes. In PvP, she might struggle it all depends what gears have you given her. And also second, in main campaign, the buffs she gives to Ironblood members is the most valuable one, because it's universal to Ironblood members. Like, if you compare to Zwei increases, was it firepower, reload and anti-air 50%. Yes, it increases those stats. But the original Bismarck gives critical rate. It increases Ironblood carriers damage, and also it increases Tirpitz damage output. She is important character if you want to build a working Ironblood fleet. And of course, you need her to complete your collection as well. Luckily, she is obtainable these days. And then she also increases your fleet power in those other things you also need for your fleet. So when you see Bismarck obtainable, use her when you need her the most. Also, she also gives this impressive damage output, increased support to Tirpitz. Okay, that was weirdly pronounced. She also buffs Tirpitz damage dealt. If you have them both, good gears, max skills, fully upgraded skills, and then the level up. So she works today despite being old ship. And what type of fleet you want to make Bismarck as a flagship with these current characters available is impressive. What kind of fleets you can actually make. You can create this meme, Ironblood Destroyer Vanguard, or you can do some combinations with different Ironblood members. I actually did some really interesting fleet that composed by Bismarck, then was it Tirpitz, Crash Zeppelin, or Peter or August, and then the entire Vanguard was entirely made either Hipper class or Deutschland class. Okay, we have Deutschland and Spee, but we have little Spee available, so yeah, it's a complete Vanguard or Destroyer fleet. Heavy cruisers? Yes. Large cruisers? Well, we have Aegir. Then Prince Heinrich, the P class. So yeah, that is an interesting combination. But what types of fleets you can make with the Ironblood members, Bismarck as a flagship, is a wide one. Now her sister, Tirpitz. Tirpitz, of course, she was built in a historical way. She was, fleet in being, Lonely Queen of the North. So all she can get is making her damage dealt increased, And also she has skill torpedoes. Like, you do not have to equip any type torpedoes at all, which makes her really fascinating one. But she is improved when she sails with Tirpitz. When Tirpitz is sailing with Bismarck. These two are meant to sail together. But of course, thanks to the augment module that Tirpitz got a few years ago, she can now work without Bismarck's support. But when it becomes Bismarck's support, let's make it this way. You have Tirpitz and 2 Ironblood carriers. You have Bismarck Zwei, if you're lucky enough. If you have Bismarck Zwei in other fleet. And Tirpitz's fleet is attacking. Bismarck Zwei's carrier buff helps Tirpitz's fleet that has 2 carriers on it. So that is impressive combination, if you can see what I am pointing here. Now when it becomes to Bismarck Zwei, she is upgraded Bismarck from the original. After she went some metamorphosis, but she survived. Thanks to Ironblood technology and research to meta-corruption and metamorphosis and its behaviors. How she can support the fleet? Well, as I mentioned, she can support the other fleet that has Ironblood carriers on it. It doesn't matter, is it entire Ironblood carrier fleet, or does it have like Tirpitz, Bismarck together and then 1 Ironblood carrier, and Bismarck Zwei gives support to that other carrier in the fleet. So there is a really interesting combination going on over here right now, if you want to make full Ironblood fleet under your command. Praise to be commander. But it all depends if you have been lucky in RNG to actually have Bismarck Zwei on your fleet. Of course, that also affects the planning how you build your fleet, of course. And that Bismarck Zwei black hole skill, it is helpful when enemies are moving closer to your back fleet. The black hole sucks enemies in it, and if the moment, well, in my case it happens every time, the laser that happens in Bismarck's attack does impressive amount of damage. And this is also very helpful in Operation Siren, if you have Ironblood fleets, of course. Multiple Ironblood fleets, like I have done many months now, many months. She gives good amount support, and it is effective against those enemies who tend to move around across the map, the field. So overall, if you have Bismarck, she is obtainable in the medal shop. Get her if you can. When it comes to Tirpitz, yes, if you have her, make them sailing together. If you have augment module, you can make Tirpitz sailing without Bismarck's help. If you have Bismarck Zwei, you have impressive combination already going on. It might be a struggling in a map 14 and 15. I haven't reached 15 yet. But if Bismarck gives you extra anti-air, that 15%, it is helpful, because there is swarming planes. So this is interesting indeed. Interesting indeed. Please give it a try. If you are not Ironblood main, then give it a shot. Take a look at their skills, take a look at your Ironblood members, what do you have? Check their skills and make combinations which type Vanguard and main fleet works to you. And of course, if you do this classic way, you swap the max leveled gears to the characters you're going to use. Well, that's personal opinion, how do you do it, because I personally try to make things in the way that every character has their own weaponry, so they are ready to go every time when I need them. When I need them. So make sure that every character you have is well armed. When you take them, you can just instantly go to the stage without even touching the gears you gave them. But that of course depends what kind of boss you're going to make them fight. So of course AP doesn't work with light, HE works against the light armor, so on and so forth. But anyway, Bismarck class, are they worth it? Yes. If you're Ironblood main, then you are a lucky fellow indeed. Let's have a good drink together. Because I am Ironblood main as well. Now then. Thank you so much for watching. My name is LuckyMias2055. If you enjoy my content, you are welcome to subscribe to support my work here on YouTube. And please take care of yourselves. Fair wind and following seas. Damn, I need to work up these endings.
我はビスマルクの邪魔戦場に再び舞い戻った進むのだ邪魔だ戦艦ビスマルク未来を切り開く共に戦えるのは強越死後邪魔だどけ邪魔だ戦艦ビスマルク未来を切り開く進むのだ邪魔だどけ邪魔だ進め進むのだどけ邪魔だ進め進むのだ今ので満足し